I kind of think science education isn't enough because, like, if you just teach them about an idea like gravity or evolution, they'll just say that doesn't necessarily disprove our beliefs. So why can't we preach our beliefs? So I think there also needs to be some education on how to rule out bad claims, claims based on unfalsifiability. We can educate people to rule out logical fallacies and biases.
Yeah, so I figure that a lot of people who are highly educated in science are already aware of these things. They know how to rule out bad claims. Like if forget science, like अभी अगर किसी के घर कोई आएगा और बोलेगा uh, if you give me if you give me 5,000 rupees right now, I will create a rabbit out of my hand. People will say no, thank you, right? The
Yeah,
problem only arises when it is a religion that they are emotionally attached to. Like if a Muslim holy man goes to a Hindu family and offers to do something, they might say no. But if a Hindu
yeah.
holy man goes to a Hindu family, they'll say नहीं नहीं बाबा जी आए कुछ तो होगा फिर गेरुए वस्त्र पहने हैं तिलक लगाए हैं वगैरह वगैरह. And it all goes back to how we imagine religious claims. So when people are when people are more like when are people more likely to believe and when are people less likely to believe? So ये gravity वगैरह की चीजें तो फिर भी sophisticated चीजें हैं. There are people who have studied about space, science, physics, everything, but they will still forward your WhatsApp forward about how the core of the galaxy is aligned with the planets, and that is why Mahashivratri is important. They don't feel the need to explore it further because it makes them happy on some level, on some religious level. They'll just accept it.
Well, that's where our gaps in knowledge come into. So basically,
No, I'm
we
saying they don't have a gap in knowledge. They understand these things and they still accept the lie. That is the problem because of childhood indoctrination, emotional reasons. It's not
well,
simply the whole point of why I chose this topic is that we think it is about understanding. It is not. It is about emotion.
hmm,
Like I
but
can understand when people are not well read, not educated, falling for superstition. When educated people fall for superstition, the argument that superstition is caused by, uh, lack of understanding, it goes out the window. It's not about understanding anymore.
well, I mean, yeah, I guess, but in that case, we can't really do anything, right?
We can try to like I know on a practical level preventing all the children out there from being indoctrinated as children sounds impossible, but if you create a religions also are part of culture, right? Religious
Yeah,
culture was once non-existent, but now it exists and it is widespread. So the idea is to create a culture of critical thinking and science education which can be meted out to which can be given to children right from a young age. मतलब तुम्हारे घर में कोई बच्चा है उसको कोई ताबीज़ पहना रहा है या तिलक लगा रहा है, से नो टू इट कि दिस इज़ लास्टिंग डैमेज. This is going to affect this child's ability to process reality when they're 25 years old.
but they will perceive that as bigotry.
Hmm. They will perceive that as bigotry, but at some point, how I don't think it is bigotry. They might perceive it as opposition to their religious identity,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Because bigotry is essentially religious. Like you cannot be an atheist bigot. If you're saying God does not exist, you cannot be a bigot, at least as far as that view is concerned.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have to kind of struggle with it a little bit. You have to say, listen, I have no problem with you taking the child to a temple or a church or a mosque, but don't put markings on their body. Don't put tattoos, don't put tabis, don't make them do things that they don't want to. By the way, I was listening to this Muslim person who is in Saudi Arabia, and they were talking about their child, and they were an atheist, from a Muslim background, and they said, I don't want my children to follow all this, but if I tell them to not read the namaz, etc., my neighbors will feel bad, my family will feel bad. What do I do? The advice given to them by someone very wise, I'm forgetting when I heard this and from whom, but the advice given to them was, tell them it is unimportant. Tell them that
Hmm.
if they don't do it, it's okay. And they
Yeah.
won't do it because they're children. They have 50 other things to do. They'll play video games. Who wants to who wants to sit down and pray 5 times a day? So just
Yeah.
by doing that, you give a message saying it's a thing. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't feel like doing it, don't do it. If you want to pretend to do it, that's also okay. If you're just doing it for the mithai during the festivals, that's also okay. Devalue religion. I think one of the problems atheists often run into is that we keep trying to destroy religion. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if we devalue it, if you tell people, sure, it's a thing, you can go to Japan or you can not go to Japan. It's a thing in life. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. If we limit it to that only, I think we will make much more progress than if we हटाओ हटाओ religion हटाओ खुले में हगना बंद करो ये सब करेंगे ना तो it becomes harder to do because people double down on their culture. They think they're in danger, and they start doing it even more. But if you
Yeah.
simply shrug and say, then it works better.
Yeah. I mean, but like that won't work on someone who's so like if you're trying to convince like your own parents or like a parent of a friend, that it isn't important, and they give you arguments from personal experience for why it benefited them, and then they say, so why can't I like encourage my child to do all this stuff?
Yeah.
You can't really debunk their personal experience
I'm not
because
saying I'm not saying it will work on everyone. I'm saying that to whatever extent it is going to work, it's going to work in this way by devaluing religion, not by trying to destroy religion. I'm not saying that if you devalue religion in front of everyone, every single time we will meet success. But there are always going to be people who don't want to let go of it. There are always going to be people who will push back. But the pushback is going to be harder if you say, abandon all religion and surrender unto me, which is, by the way, a Bhagavad Gita quote.
I just ran into this problem like a few hours ago with my parents where they gave me
What happened?
arguments from they gave I told them that if they make a claim, the burden of proof falls
Hmm.
upon them.
Hmm.
And then I was given arguments from personal experience. I
Hmm.
had responses, but I couldn't say it to them without sounding rude, or say in a way that would make me not sound like a jerk.
Hmm.
So I just had to concede.
Take it like, treat it like a war in which this was one battle. You're going to win
Yeah,
some, you're going to lose some, and at the end of the day, they're your family. So फैमिली के अंदर कम से कम बहुत सीरियस झगड़े शुरू करना इज नॉट अ वाइज आइडिया. इवन आई डू दिस. Like,
yeah,
if 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 uh, if I have to convince my father of something, it is more useful if a friend of mine comes and tells him. If I
yeah.
tell him, he will never listen because he has seen me in a chaddi. So and my opinions are always going to appear childish to him. So I get my friends to sometimes do it. I used to, but never mind.
I was literally told if you rely on burden of proof, it will only slow you down.
No, no,
I
it
don't
won't.
even know what that means. This is
It means
what my
that it will
father
slow you
said
down
to me.
from believing ridiculous things.
Yeah, my father literally said this to me, by the way.
Yeah, that's because burden of proof is hard to get over. People try to avoid it. One of the most common arguments you hear from religious people is that मैं क्यों साबित करूं, तुम साबित करो कि मैं झूठ बोल रहा हूं.
Hmm.
And this line actually works nowhere else in life. It only works in this one place,
Yeah, yeah.
or seems to work.